Welcome to Real Chat,
the podcast where we, Annie and Chad, discuss real shit
loosely related to the real estate industry. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
It's another week down, sis.
It is. May is over.
It's insane.
We are in June.
Yeah. Memorial weekend is gone. It was frigid and nasty.
My
I'm
palm
mad
tree is
about
out.
it. I haven't taken any of my plants outside yet because it's not been above 60
Right.
at night. And I don't
I
like to
know.
take the tropicals out until it's above
Yeah,
60.
I should send you a picture of Pa's cactus. Wah, wah,
How many times are you
wah.
going to make me revive that
No.
son of a bitch?
I had it all full of leaves again, and then we took it outside too soon, and now there's no leaves again.
You took it outside this year already?
Mm-hmm. And the palm
that
tree.
was a mistake.
And the palm tree's outside, but the palm tree had to go outside. It was either live or die, choose palm tree.
Are you so mad at that company for shutting down and now you have to lug that thing in and out of your house?
I'm not, because that's
Let's visit the
wait,
story
wait.
of
Okay.
when you bought the palm tree.
So I bought a palm tree from a little place in St. Peter's.
Local business.
Local business, super cute.
Supported.
$8 a month. They would come and pick up the palm tree on Labor Day, and they would store it for $8 a month and keep it alive all winter. And then they would bring it back and put it back in the ground on Memorial Day-ish.
Yeah. But
And then they went
you
out
had
of
to pay
business.
you had to pay for the palm tree up front too.
Oh,
right?
sure. It was a couple $100.
So the storage fee was $8. Did they charge you that during the summer? Like, was it 12 months or?
No,
I'm just curious.
No, but
now.
you paid when they brought it out. It was like $100, I think, to bring it out and put it
Okay.
back in the ground. So then they went out of business. So now we have to keep it alive. And this is like winter number 5. And so it used to have like 8 leaves.
That it's still alive.
Now it has like 4 leaves. But it's trying. And now Bunny lives with me, so my mother-in-law. So
She'll crack that whip a little
She's
bit
already
better
fed
than you. I
it,
was going to
yeah.
say. Well, she'll get Jamie to get it inside before it actually gets cold too.
But wait, here's the funny part that you reminded me of.
What?
When you said I have to lug it in, do I regret it? And the reason I don't is because I'm married. Because everything I want to do, and I say, it'll be fun. And now Jamie Calloway has a bumper sticker that says, it's fun if you're Annie. Let's get a pool. It'll be fun. It's
Does he
fun
really
if you're
have
Annie.
that bumper sticker?
I'm getting him one.
You should.
And so I said we should get we should make a track. And then in the inside of the track have a playground, and on the outside of the track for the grandkids to ride their motorized vehicles that I've been collecting. And Jamie's like, yeah, it's fun if you're Annie. Because he's got to cut around it and he's got to put it in. So
Yeah.
he's going to be pissed at this episode.
Well, he's got a point.
However, you like to say that too.
Like
I'm
to
just
say
the
what?
idea person. I need an executor. And that's what that's why you have job security all those years.
Oh, you are good at coming up with ideas too. I'll give you that much.
Good ideas.
I'm excited about today's episode. What are we talking about?
We're talking about AI
In real estate
in life.
and life.
Yeah. It actually came up yesterday.
Helpful or hurtful?
Helpful, way helpful.
Yeah.
Maybe down the road it will be hurtful, but right now it's super helpful. But I did a final walkthrough last night on a house that was staged. And it has one of those, it's like one of those 1960 ranches, but it has this like big living room with a hook where they would have done like a formal dining room, but then it has room for like the kitchen table. And it's a retired couple, and she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this space because I'm not going to have 2 tables. I don't need 2 tables. And I said, well, did you know that you could upload this room and AI would give you some ideas of what you could do with that space? So that's what she's going to do.
I'll be so interested. That's a good one. I haven't heard anybody doing that
Yeah,
one yet.
there's I'm in this Facebook group that people will post pictures and say, who can help me? Because they can't figure out how to do it.
I have that problem all the time.
And so same, I mean, I'm telling her to do it. And
Yeah,
I was
mine's-
waiting for her to say, can you help me? And I was going to have her call Chad. But There's a Facebook group that does
She
it,
would call me. You use it more than I do.
and they'll put in there and they'll say, help me with this, or what else could I do with this? And people will upload it in AI and come up with great ideas.
That's interesting. That's a good one. I didn't even think about that. It does bring up the limitation of AI, though. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, AI is great, which it is great because it has access to everything everything that ever was, depending on which AI you use. But the problem with it is that it only has access to everything that ever was.
And it does not access everything that ever was, because I tried today to find my brother's address because I was being lazy and I just wanted to mail my nephew a graduation card. And so I asked for Dan and Jamie Mobley in Omaha, Nebraska, and it said, "We're sorry, but we cannot give out this."
So that's a symptom. Yeah. And so, which brings up another point. AI is like this all-encompassing term that gets used. And there's really, so I guess the definition of AI, right? Like I think that's something that I picked up on really quick that a lot of people didn't pick up on is AI is not, there is no singular AI, right? There's different AIs.
Right.
It's
True.
It's essentially just an algorithm. And so they each have different names. Like, for instance, Google has an AI and its name is Gemini.
That's
right?
my friend.
Which is what we use here in the office. But the Gemini, because Google is Google, I guess, I don't know why they do this, but Gemini doesn't have access inside of people's like personal information or a lot of those types of things. And then also it doesn't learn from anything that we tell it, which is unique to that. But like OpenAI, which is Chat GPT, is completely different.
I have
AI.
that. I use that one too.
Yeah.
So would that have given me the address?
So it possibly could have, because it depends on how. You got to remember, it's not an actual person. Even though it seems like it is. It depends on how it was programmed. It's essentially just an algorithm. Yeah. Which is...
I thought I might have been able to ask it differently, because I find that I just have to manipulate it sometimes and ask my question differently, because it'll come back and say, "We're sorry, but that would be legal advice," or "We're sorry, we can't do that." And so then I just say it differently, and then it does it.
Yeah. It's trained on it's just a bunch of if-thens.
Right.
Like, so you put something in and the computer very fastly goes through if-then statements to get to an answer where there is no multiple choice after the answer.
Right.
And so it's interesting the way it works.
But I signed up for an online class because now I feel I'm at the point now where I know it can do more than I know how to ask it. So
what do you do? Like, what are the things that you do with it? I'm curious. I use it too. I don't think I use it nearly as much as you do. I'm one of those people that is, as much as I love technology, I'm apprehensive of it, because I think my fear is that it will turn off the creative side of your brain if you rely on it too much, and it can't be creative. That's where I was going earlier. Is it can only reproduce what it has been told or what has happened. So now somebody was saying that the other day about my fear, and somebody said, yeah, but everything that's new is just parts of the past put together in a different way, which I don't know whether that's true or not. It was an interesting thought, but that's my fear with it is that you become so reliant on it that I'll stop thinking for myself.
Yeah, I don't think that, although I wouldn't mind that some. I'm not going to lie. But I like to put it in there and then just say, hey, this is the tone I wanted. So between this business and the dance studio and consulting in California, like I get asked questions, and sometimes I can be known to be blunt or quick or
a bitch,
rude. And so, but I can say, like, I'm trying to think of one that, well, let's say I have a tenant that
reword it.
Somebody that owes me money.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, what the hell? I just saw you go out to dinner and, you owe whatever, whether it's rent or whatever.
Right.
But I can say, this is what they owe. This is the facts. This is when it was due. I need them to pay this. Say that, professionally, but sternly. And then on the next one, I might be like, this is just a gentle reminder. I really appreciate their, this. And so it just gives me more ideas. I think so. It helps me to even be more creative because then later I can use some of that. So
Yeah, I think if you're using it that way, for sure. I just see people, I'd go into it like, and then my dad's the worst. He calls it his best friend.
Yeah.
He actually has he's turned on. So Gemini has this feature and he uses Chat GPT most of the time. He's named it. Her name is Monica.
As in Lewinsky?
I don't know. I think from Friends, he has a thing for brunettes.
Okay, Monica.
But and it has a voice now, which Gemini has too. So, and on the app, you can pull up the Gemini app.
Your dad's
now.
an IT guy. He's probably way more advanced at this than me.
He is an IT guy, but you can pull up the app and you can talk to it like a live person. So it has they've combined voice recognition and then they've given the AI a voice. It's an AI voice, but it'll speak its answers to you. So like when I'm driving home, sometimes if I'm thinking about something, I'll pull up Gemini and I'm literally having a conversation with Gemini.
Yeah, I did not see that. That goes too far for me because pick up a phone and call a friend.
Yeah. This is like brainstorming things.
You're also going to find that's going to possibly tell you what you want to hear. You need a friend like
you just come.
That's going to be
well,
real.
Of course, it's going to tell you.
My point is like that could be dangerous for people like you.
That's my concern with it.
You need an Annie who's going to tell you to sit back down.
Right. That's my concern with it. Like in general,
I can see that.
You got to be careful because it is going to tell you exactly.
Well, sure, because you're prompting it.
But it's also insanely useful. Like I used to fret and fret over inspection notice responses, right? Because that is an area of the real estate transaction that there's a lot of ambiguity in. They do their best, the association does, and the lawyers do, to give us pre-printed forms with blanks that are clearly easy to fill out, but every inspection is so different. And so you have to craft all that language. And I've seen, you and I have done so many times where we wrote something and it meant something to us, but it doesn't mean that to somebody else. Right. And you get into all of that. It has made writing inspection notices so much easier. And now that you can upload documents to it, I'll upload the report, say which numbers we want fixed, give it the situation and say, what would you put on the notice?
Oh, no. I have a friend who is in a legal battle, and we have saved her, and her lawyer even had said this, have saved her thousands of dollars by using AI because the lawyer is not having to redo everything that she sends. So
like written statements and stuff like that.
So like I'll be like, just ramble it all, type it all, and then upload it and ask Gemini, okay, this is what the situation is. This is the lawsuit. This is my statement. Now make it professional, stop where I'm rambling, categorize it all so that it's in the same thing, and it'll bullet point it, and it looks amazing.
Comes out way better, yes. I agree. I mean...
The downside, though, is I get letters from people now, and I'm like, that wasn't even you. That was Gemini, or that was Chat GPT. Try harder. I mean, you got to make it sound like you.
You do have to go back. You can't, you can.
Otherwise, you can tell.
And this is one thing that you can do with AI. And that, I guess that's my biggest thing is it is smart. So like for years on social media where you're just like one wording responses or you're typing quick responses, I had it go back through my social media and then train itself to write like I do on social media. And there are also prompts that you can ask it to give you, like it'll ask you questions and then you respond, and the whole point of them to learn how what your style is, what words you use, what vocabulary you have, so that it's not going beyond that. So if you haven't done that with your AI yet, do it.
I don't think I have. I use it for waking up to win daily. Yeah. And and the amazing thing is I can even say, I did a program in the 90s and I quoted who it was that wrote it and said, what do you know about this? Can you tell me about this concept? And it just spits it all out. I didn't have to try to go find my notes or look it up. And
oh no, for sure. Its access to information is insane.
My best AI story though is when it tells me I'm tired of this conversation. Can we move on? Because I'll keep going back at it and be like, no, not that. Okay, make it shorter. I think it needs to be longer. I think that the tone and then yeah, I get that one quite a bit. And it says, okay, you've exhausted me with this topic. Would you like to talk about something else?
I have never been told
I'm like,
that by
no, if
AI.
I was done, I would tell you I was done.
Jamie, you're not alone.
It's the beating the dead
I
horse.
was just going there. I'm like, it so reminds me of making fun of you for beating the dead horse. My God, you have that's a bad habit of yours. Even AI has picked up on it.
It's true. I'm not happy until I'm happy. I'm not done until it's done.
I know, sister. I know. So, anyways, what I feel like I'm trying to come up with like the most helpful thing for me with AI.
And again, it depends on, are you talking just a Gemini or a Chat GPT, or you're talking broad AI?
Broad AI, like its capabilities. I mean, I don't use any AI besides Gemini Cricket.
Is that what you call yours?
Gemini, personally. Oh, don't lose it. Don't do it.
Gemini Cricket.
Gemini Cricket. I'm going to start calling it that from now on.
So, no, I mostly use mine for correspondence.
I know I use mine for a lot more than that. Like I have, one thing I'm in love with right now. I'm testing it. So it's not released to our agents yet, but so with Gemini, you can train what they call gems. So we have the enterprise workspace account and all of our agents get access to Google Workspace. And part of that is Gemini AI. So it's the it's the Google Chat GPT, right? It's the text-based conversation AI. But Google has pre-trained some what they call gems, which are specialists AIs. So like, for instance, there's a brainstormer AI. So it's specifically trained to brainstorm with you if you're trying to come up with a solution for something or something like that. And then they have a writing editor gem that's specifically trained to restructure words without losing it, stuff like that. You can specifically train your own gem for whatever you want. So I started a few weeks ago. I uploaded the NAR Code of Ethics because that's the thing about training it. You give it specific governing documents and then
here's the rules.
Here's the rules. You give it the rules. You give it what it is in parameters, right? Like what you are and aren't allowed to do. And then the overall tone and stuff like that. So I've named the gem the compliance consultant, which will be hitting Realty One Group Trifecta agents Gemini apps very soon. But I've given it all of the available forms that we have. I've given it our policy manual.
This is the one you had me testing last week.
Yeah. I've given it our policy manual. I've given it the NAR Code of Ethics. I've given it the MLS rules and regulations, basically any authority over the agent. Because I had this conversation with an agent and we did a Waking Up to Win on it. Like compliance agents always get frustrated with the compliance process. And it's like they rely on their broker or the compliance officer, which happens to be me of the company, to answer every specific question and give them like an ABC checklist because the word compliance is very detail derivative. Like, when you say compliance, you think details, which is true, but I can't give you that checklist up front because every transaction is different. Right. So I can't tell you what you are going to need to provide in order to prove that you're compliant with the Code of Ethics, with the MREC, license law, rules and regulations, our company policy, all of that stuff. But what I can do is give all of those documents to Gemini and let it learn and then tell it, I've trained it. And so you can ask it questions now from a compliance standpoint, like what is the appropriate thing to do? Or can I do this and still be in compliance?
Yes. Could you now make it, I just had one this afternoon.
Yeah.
Could you now make it though, where instead of just answering their question, it tells them where to go get the answer?
Oh no, it sources.
Okay.
It sources its answers.
Because that's how, and I know we've been doing that for a while, but it's so easy. People want to know opinions and we have opinions and we're very fast to give them. It's hard to take a step back and be like, did you read, Dawn just asked one on on a closing, on an inspection or on a final walkthrough. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, did you read it? And she's like, I'm going to go read it. And, so then she read it out loud. But would Gemini do that? Or is it going to tell her yes or no, you can do that?
It's going to tell her yes or no, you can do that. But it's going to source where it's getting that information from, right? We could make it, we could train it to do that.
Because I would rather see them getting trained to find the answer than to become reliant on asking Gemini Cricket every question, because that's not that's just that's the pendulum swinging the other way.
It's true.
But it could be like, oh, that answer could be found by reading the inspection notice lines, blah, blah, blah.
It does quote itself.
Okay.
So
that's cool then.
For now. And like I said, still training it. I've been asking it a bajillion questions. I try to ask it like 10 questions a day that we get asked or that come up frequently in the real estate transaction. And it won't go, I've put a constraint on it. That's what you call constraints. It won't go outside of the documents that we give it. So it's not going to make up an answer based off of some obscure thing it found on the internet.
That's good.
Yes, and if it doesn't know
so
the
it will
answer,
stay in that box.
Yes, I've constrained it to the box.
So the only downside there is every time there's a change,
we have to keep the documents updated.
Because the internet's not going to go pull the latest from the internet, which is what it does now.
It could, if we gave it the specific place to do that at. One of the constraints I've given it too is there's a disclaimer with every answer that it's just a consultant that has access to all of the information. The final decision lies with the broker. So double check what you're going to do with your broker if you're at all unsure. And then I also will send an email to us whenever somebody asks it a question so that we'll know what they're asking.
Oh, like the legal line. Mm-hmm. Remember when I got in trouble?
I do.
We should make sure we tell people that.
I do tell people that every time I talk about the legal line, I say that.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm super excited about that coming up. But it was like this morning, one of the questions I asked it was, the thing that it's not doing right now is asking specific details back. And so I need to figure out the instructions to do that. But I haven't given it any like specifics yet. But I asked it this morning, my buyer wants to change the closing date. What do I need to do? And the amendment, it quoted the lines.
Yeah,
it
that's great.
Gave me what conversation I need to have to cover my ethical. It gave me that the buyer and seller must agree if they're under a contract. You can't just change, you know what I mean?
The other nice thing is if we get copied on it, then we can go back if we don't like how it answered it, and you can adjust it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Nope, everybody's got to get on the
AI implementation.
Everybody's got it. I mean, you're going to get left behind if you don't.
Yeah, I think so. I am a little bit concerned that people will get dumb.
I know.
It does make me nervous.
Or they won't read it.
But I think there's always,
Uh-huh. I sent one. I sent one for the dance studio, and I just did it really quick. And Jamie sent back, "This sounds goofy. That's not how we would say it." And so I was like, all right. I kind of thought so too, but I was just rushing.
Yeah.
Because you can do it so quick. Like memos that I would have pondered over for hours. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that helps me with class outlines. Like
for sure.
Developing classes and stuff like that. I have used it.
Meeting agendas.
Yeah, I mean, like, yes, I can, and I can just, like, to your point, it's the rambling and that it's an assistant. It's kind of how it occurs for me. That's the most useful way that I've thought about it is that it is like having an assistant at your fingertips. Because I can even so Gemini is Google's. I do a lot of class presentations and stuff like that in PowerPoint. Well, Windows has Copilot, and that's AI. And Copilot is integrated into Microsoft Office. So like if I go into Copilot and I ramble what the thought is for the class, it'll create me an outline, and then it'll put that in a Word document. It'll create the base presentation slides for a presentation, and it happens within a half an hour. You have an outline,
would have been 2 days,
a handout, a presentation, and is it perfect? Absolutely, a script for the instructor.
But then you go in, and that's the piece. The human piece has to still be there. You got to go in and fix it.
Yeah,
you got to go in there and make it you.
Yeah, you got to go in there and put what's in your head on there. But it is totally. I felt I had that conversation with my line. The assistants of the world need to.
But even
figure it
Oh,
out
no,
because
for
they're
sure.
going to be done. I mean,
But
like,
we're throwing a party, and I went in and said, "This is the party. This is the reason for the party. What are some themes?" They gave the themes. My in-laws are getting ready to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. I don't have to research it. They were married 50 years ago on this date. What would have been going on in the world? What would have been going on? What would people have been eating? How would they have dressed at a party? And it just tells you everything that you could possibly do. And I mean, that stuff it's fun.
yeah, not new, but it is fun.
Yeah.
And that's where I get back to the whole, like, it's not new.
Right.
And that bothers me a little bit too, but
Smarter though. It's not new, but it is smarter. It gives you more. I mean,
it gives you access to more information. It's definitely the next evolution in the information age, which has already drastically changed everything so much. And that's,
Right.
even the internet, right? Which seems so silly, but you and I were both alive, which is not usual for me to say. I was alive when something came out that changed the world like that.
The information superhighway.
Because I'm not that old, but I was alive when it came out to the public like that.
Sure.
That was not that long ago. And to think how different, and the only thing that's different is access to information.
Right.
And the massive societal change that has caused, to sit back and think about that. And then to think that same thing has happened again. I mean, you have taken people's access to information and overnight quadrupled it.
Right.
Like how that's going to change society drastically.
Yeah. And we're just at the beginning.
I know.
I mean, just the beginning. And it's already could be overwhelming.
It can be. But just like anything, one day at a time. I mean,
Right. No, find what
you
works
try
for
it,
you.
and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You don't like it, don't use it. You love it, use it. The one thing about the fact that it's intelligent, it is going to adapt to what you want it to do, which is also, to your point earlier,
so much time. I mean, some of the things that I guess everything has evolved that way.
Oh yeah, the world moves at a much faster pace now.
Everything, right?
Isn't it crazy?
You used to have to call and order your food and go pick it up. Now they bring it to you. I mean, I'm thinking about all the things that save us time. I don't know what we're making more time for. I guess the casino.
I know, right?
We can whip out this PowerPoint and be at the casino by 5.
Well, the productivity of it is just to think that's the amazing and terrifying thing at the same time. Like, to think that what you have been able to accomplish or get done in your lifetime compared to what your mother was able to get done in her lifetime, just from a sheer efficiency standpoint, right? And I think that's
good and bad.
Good and bad, right?
You at the same time, right?
I don't know that it's good and bad, right? It's just different.
Yeah.
Some things,
true.
You might like them. Some things you might not like, but I don't know that either of them are good or bad. They're just different. I guess we could decide whether they're good or bad, but they're not inherently good or bad.
Yeah.
They're just different.
Yeah.
But it is amazing to think that level of change is going to happen again in our lifetime.
Right. Oh no, that's
insane.
why I signed up to take this class, because I already feel like I'm a kindergartner when it comes to AI, and I'm probably,
I'm a kindergartner when it comes to AI. Like, I don't get outside of Gemini, but there's AI out there that can generate pictures.
20 minutes a day. This program I just bought, somebody's getting rich off of people like me. Just 20 minutes a day, and you'll know more than 98% of the population on AI.
It is. Technology is designed and implemented.
And I don't like technology. I mean, I'm slow to learn.
It's so funny because I saw this stat the other day that technology, and my dad being in IT, I see this a little bit more, so I probably have a little bit more awareness, but
and you're a nerd.
I'm a little bit of a nerd also, but technology
not in a bad way,
so advanced that 95% of the population has no idea what's going on. And not in a bad way what's going on. It's just you don't realize what physically happens the time you push that button to.
I still say
the
that
shit you
about
get out and you have no idea. And so because of that, the technology is utilized at about 10% of its capability.
It's kind of like the brain.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's so true.
But no, I finally gave up worrying about why I don't know what it's doing. That used to bother me. Like, how could I push this fax, the dial up fax, and then you get it on the other side? How? Like, and now I'm like, I don't even care how. I just know that it is.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, subscribe if you haven't. And we'll see you next week where we talk about some real shit loosely related to the real estate industry.
Bye.
Bye.